Hey there, friends. I'm Shamitria, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Math Talk with the Rowdy Math Teacher. Today, I'm talking about student engagement, and not just about student engagement in the classroom, but specifically about student engagement in online learning environments. Recently, given the events of the last several months and how we ended our spring semester, I've received a lot of questions and comments from teachers asking about ways to engage their students online. As we know, we were all just kind of thrown into a situation where we just kind of had to make things work. And while we did that very well and were able to accomplish our goals, I don't know that going into the next school year, if we have to start the school year this way or be prepared to shift into an online learning situation at some point during the school year, that we would necessarily want to repeat the same strategies and ways of doing things that we did this past semester. So as I thought about this topic and how to support teachers, I've mentioned before here that technology is my jam and student engagement is my jam. So it's kind of a great combo. In fact, I feel like technology is really a student engagement tool, especially with the students that we have, this generation of students. Technology is an engagement tool. But I really thought about how we could marry the two together. So I know for many of you, actually, I know some teachers didn't do a lot of online engagement with their students in terms of being able to teach face-to-face. They were mainly just communicating with students via slides or via email or some other communication tool. But I also know there were others of you out there who were doing weekly lessons or daily lessons. And so you were attempting to find strategies and ways to engage with your kids. So I know that moving forward, this is going to be an important topic and one that we want to make sure that we've got some great ideas for how to move forward. So I want to start with just a question. Actually, it's not a question. It's really more of a quote. I was in a webinar recently and the presenter said, "Good online learning begins with good math instruction." And that seems so simple, but I feel like a lot of times when we're trying to use technology tools, we complicate the situation by trying to look at technology first. Instead, we need to look at the math first. So I have two questions for you to help you think about how to engage your students online. First, I want you to ask yourself, how do you engage your students in the classroom? That's the first question. Do you engage them with picture books or games or problem-solving questions, or even just a thought-provoking question where you ask their opinion about something? Maybe you put up a couple of responses to a problem and ask them who's correct. I love to use that strategy with kids. That really gets them talking about the math. So the first question is, how do we engage students in our classrooms every day? What tips, what strategies, what do we do to engage our kids every day? And then the second question is, what tools, what online tools do we need to use to do that? So as I mentioned, one of my favorite strategies is to put up a question and to I guess I would put up the question and give a student's response, a made-up student, of course, and sometimes I like to use like teacher names. It's always a little bit fun, but I give the response. Either I show the work that the person did, or I will give a verbal or written response of how the person thought about the problem, and then ask the students who's correct. And so that's like a poll, right? So there are polling technology pieces out there that you can use to poll students. One tool is already within Zoom. If you are doing a Zoom meeting, you can use the polling feature to poll students and find out who do you think is correct. And then you can talk about that information. If you're not using a tool like Zoom and you don't have a polling tool available, you can always use something like, I think it's Mentimeter. If you go to like menti.com, it's the name is Mentimeter, but you can create questions and polls via that tool. And then you just share the link or the access code that students need to access that particular poll, and they vote. And then you can share the results with them in real time as you're talking with the class. Same thing with picture books, using picture books. And I know I've talked about picture books a lot. Well, they're not on my shelf right now. I used to have them behind me on this shelf, but I did a little redecorating. And so they're actually stored in a different location now. But I do have some picture books above me that you're not able to see. Actually, let's see if I can move the camera up there really quickly. Yeah, you can see just the bottom of them there. So picture books is something that I really enjoy. And oftentimes I like to launch a lesson with a story, a picture book. So how can I do that online? Well, I could share the story with the students online. I could read it to them. Or I might be able to create an online version of the story. So maybe I read the story to the students and share that video with them. Now, of course, those books are copyrighted, so you do have to have permission to do that. But I know a lot of the authors this past semester were giving permission for teachers to share their books online with kids. So I think as long as you're just sharing it with your class, it's not usually a big deal, but certainly it's something that you want to check out. So again, my strategy there is matching the engagement tools and strategies that I already use in my in-person classroom to tools that can help me accomplish those same things online. And so that's one simple way to engage your students, is just think about what you're already doing and then a technology tool that can help you accomplish that same thing online. All right, we'll talk more about engagement because, again, this is a topic that is it's fun for me and something that I enjoy talking to teachers about. So I will be bringing this topic back up throughout our next few episodes and talking about other strategies and tools that you can use to engage your kids online. So stay tuned for that. See you next time.